Season 10 of ALR Gold. Hello, welcome along then, and it's the usual spiel that we do then. I think, Alex, this is probably about the 5th year we're doing this, which is absolutely shocking stuff indeed then. But before we go into everything then, we're going to start with the most improved of the Gold Season 10 season review then. And Keza, who got a Grand Prix win this season, absolutely superlative stuff indeed for Keza. One of my predictions, which I actually got right, but I'm going to be honest, that's one of those predictions, like predicting that Man City was going to win the Premier League this season, really, wasn't it? But Keza then, brilliant stuff indeed there. What a performance that Keza has had this season. He was superb stuff indeed. Now, he's only had 2 DNFs in 34 starts. Fantastic stuff indeed. Cam was runner-up in most improved. Cam was there, but I must admit, his Aston Martin career didn't start off too well. He really struggled to get that to Aston Martin tamed and under his spell, Cam. But towards the end of the season, he was pretty sublime then and really helped Aston Martin climb up the Constructors' Championship as well. And of course, well, to be honest, I got no arguments. Toy Coin was superb stuff indeed. We knew he was a Formula 2 machine. He is now a Formula 1 machine as well. I think he finished 4th in the championship in the end there with a Grand Prix win as well. And he was my second of my 2 predictions to be new winner of the season. Good evening to you, Alex, and how are you, my good sir?
I'm good. Good evening to everybody watching as well, and looking forward to this review. Like I said, there's the most improved, three fantastic drivers this season then in gold, and very much improved as well then from their previous seasons as well. Of course, Keza and Toincoin claiming their first wins in ALR as well.
Yeah, really good stuff indeed. I'm going to be honest, Alex. I said that that them two was going to win the winner race this season. I was absolutely overjoyed when they both did win in the end. So that's the only thing I've got right, I think, in the 5 years I've been doing this. So I'm going to be claiming that win. Very unusually, we're starting off in the well, it's not. It depends on how many years you've been watching Formula 1. But 1950 we start. F1 started in Silverstone, while 2023 of season 10 of ALR we're starting in Silverstone as well. Actually, it's 24, isn't it? Goodness gracious me. But Alex said, so we start off the season. It is a randomised calendar, which is only the second ever time that ALR has done a randomised calendar. And you can see that Keza, one of our award winners, are very much putting the squeeze on Boxstar right from the get-go. But a random calendar, Alex, then, for the 17 Grand Prix he got in store for us this season. Quite a short season this is.
Yeah, of course. Well, the early release of F124 is sort of put paid to that, but still an entirely new, pretty much new sort of situation for ALR, where we've got this random calendar in place. And of course, it was it was a season 5 sort of celebration, then, wasn't it? Well, 5th year, season 10 ALR celebration, then with our 5th birthday. So of course the drivers then chose the calendar, I suppose, in a way. They voted for their 17 tracks that we'll be racing around here this season, and of course Silverstone was I think a very apt place to open up the season.
Certainly was. Of course, Silverstone quite historic in Formula 1. And I must say, I'm absolutely shocked by some of the decisions from the drivers, because I'm very disappointed that Monaco was not raced at all in this Season 9 or Season 10 of F123, which is absolutely horrific. Brabham, then, who is the defending silver champion, then, who has been promoted up into gold, then, having he's had a difficult season, Brabham has, but I've said it in so many streams and so many live races that, oh my goodness gracious me, this is getting interesting, isn't it? There's a bit of a flock of cars there, isn't it? Not a flock of birds, a flock of ALR drivers. But Brabham, then, I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to make no bones about it, Alex. He's one of my favourites in ALR. Mainly because he always compliments me, but also because, oh my gosh, but also because of... also because he just sticks at it, doesn't he? He's not had a great season. Brabham's gone from being a driver that is more often than not on a podium to not even getting a podium this season, but he's stuck at it, which is probably bigger respect from my point of view.
Yeah, he's been absolutely fantastic this season as well. Like I said, of course, did claim the constructors, then with himself and his teammate Sam Swift as well. But like I said, plugging away every race, then just maximising the points, maximising the pace in every race as well, as much as he can anyway, and getting the results then to get himself further up the order as well.
And as you can see, Mr. Rage getting in a bit of a tango there with Cam, I believe that was. Cam, of course, started off a reserve driver then, so I'm sure that they become teammates, don't they? So that's interesting. So that's a great start to their careers, isn't it, in ALR? Fantastic. Or a great start to their season, I should say that. But of course, as this race ticks down, you will see in, the opening couple of races, and I think we only have a couple of one or two races in the opening stage of the season. But one thing that really impressed me, and I always remember saying this after, I think it was round 3 or 4, Hungary or Austria, that the lack of retirements in the opening couple of races in gold was sublime, Alex.
Yeah, it was, well, not just in gold. It was across all of the reviews and all of the races that we will see hopefully over the next couple of days. But no, it was fantastic, especially the first race of the season when you got a lot of competition then going on. Of course, especially when there's nothing to play for in terms of nobody sort of worrying about their position in the championship, that sort of thing. Everyone can just go for it, sort of thing. And like I said, it was very refreshing to have that sort of caliber of driver in the opening stages of the gold season as well. Obviously, making sure they got to the checkered flag, which is, I'd say, the most important thing in a race, to be honest. So,
It definitely is. To finish first you must finish there. Gurman, a very unusual strategy here. He stayed out a very long time. I'm not sure, I can't remember if he was on the medium or the hard tires. Stayed out a very long time and put himself out of contention here. Here's Boxtel and Troy. Goodness gracious me. For the past 3 seasons, Boxtel, Troy, and Percy, they have basically lived on top of the top of the championship in gold. Then, as we was looking at these current flock of Formula One drivers there, oh my goodness me. Was you expecting the same thing in the season 10?
yeah, well, I was expecting the same challenges, of course, as we've been familiar with on the previous season as well. Then, obviously, it was the same game, so it was going to be quite a difficulty for anybody to just jump up the order and start challenging from further down in the order. Then, but yeah, I think the top 10 pretty much you could say we're going to be once again competing then even for the title as well. Then, so yeah, it wasn't an easy one to pick for sure. Yeah, you couldn't name a name, I don't think, apart from a handful of names, I suppose you could say. So it was quite difficult. Then, as we can see, one of the names, Geordie, then winning the first race of the season.
He did, and he did it in fine style as well. Look at the lack of penalties as well. It wasn't just a lack of retirements; it was also a lack of penalties as well. Boxtel started the season pretty impressive as well. 2 wins there from the opening 2 races there for Boxtel. Lucas Percy and Boxtel ever present, and they. I don't know how, Alex, but they always seem to end up together on circuit. Very reminiscent to, I think it was Coulthard and Massa, not Coulthard and Massa, Hamilton and Massa in 2011, where they always seem to trip up with each other. And Box Salad Percy, they don't have many incidents these days, do they? But they used to always end up on the same piece of track, which is incredible. Box Style took an early lead in the championship, then of course it was as he was from the opening stages of the championship. Liam Mia had a nightmare first race there, but he did get a point for fastest lap then, so hopefully that might kind of help him recover from his wounds then, which is a pretty difficult start indeed then in the British Grand Prix. Alex, did you ever have a problem with a driver where you always kept tripping over each other?
Don't think so. No. So, to be honest, I didn't have the pace to be battling with anybody really. So, yeah, I don't think it was any rivalries that I could actually be near enough to have that sort of thing over a season. That is, but no, I think I try and avoid that sort of stuff anyway. So yeah, there we go.
You're the opposite to Farf because that's one man who loves who loves to be involved, doesn't he? I think I was even watching. By the way, spoiler alert. But in silver, you'll see a lot of Farf, and you'll also see a lot of Farf sticking his nose in where it doesn't belong. Look at that then, the opening stage of the British Grand Prix, and of course everyone's got a point there. Apart from your team, AlphaTauri, Alex. You and Tango really struggled to get to grips with that AlphaTauri. We'll talk about that in just a few moments because before we do so, we're going to go on to most consistent and Troy is third position there. Troy is. Troy had a very difficult season. He did manage to claim a win in the end there. Of course, Troy and Percy were teammates, and you see a clip here. This is where Troy won in Qatar, and what a race that was. I'm sure this is on the season review actually later on. I hope I haven't spoiled it for you. Well, technically we have, haven't we? Because we've shown it here. But what a race that was there. But Troy and Percy getting a 1-2, which to be honest, that was another prediction I got right as well about Ferrari. Equals finishing second now. Equals had a very difficult second season in Gold. Then his first season was superb, where he got his first Grand Prix win. Second season, a bit, was not much to write home about in the Williams car. Williams, of course, won the Constructors last season, but this season it was very difficult indeed there. And of course, Toy Coin, 2 for 2, Alex. Goodness gracious me, there. Toy Coin's taking it all home there. And of course, as we already mentioned, one of the newest Grand Prix winner in ALR Gold as well, there for Toy Coin. He was superb in qualifying. He started to get his race performance up as well, Toy Coin was. We've seen how good he made his debut in Formula 2, didn't he, last season, and then this season step up to Gold, then superb stuff right from the get-go. 2 for 2 for Toy Coin as we go to Belgium then for the historic Spa-Francorchamps circuit there, and that was very much butchered, wasn't it? But Alex, 2 for 2 for Toy Coin.
Yeah, it just shows the good season that he's had. Of course, I think there's probably even more to come from him, like you said, at the end of last season as well. But yeah, I think potentially he can kick on, get some more wins under his belt next season as well.
Goodness gracious me! Look at the undulations there as we go into Spa. Alex, I'm going to make no bones about it. This is my favourite race circuit on the calendar. I absolutely love it. When I'm commentating and qualifying and just chatting about this circuit, I'm going to be honest. It's like I'm looking at a big old round donut. To be fair, Alex, you know how much I love my donuts, but I get very excited about this circuit. But you as a driver, then, is this the circuit that you see on the calendar coming up in like a couple of days' time, and you're like, yes? Or are you kind of a bit concerned about this type of circuit?
No, I think it's a good racing circuit for sure. It's not one of my favourites, but it's definitely not one of my worst. So it would be right in the middle somewhere. But yeah, I think, like I said, overall fantastic racing circuit. It's been redeveloped then for the new game as well, which looks absolutely fantastic. So looking forward to racing on F1 24 for sure. But yeah, really, this one is a very power-hungry track. Then a very easy track to get it wrong. Then if you get it wrong on the long lap, then you really suffer, don't you? But yeah, it's been been a staple in the calendar in F1, and it's been a staple in the LR calendar as well for a long time too. So yeah, good to have it back.
And you thought that I was moaning a lot about Andretti this year. Just think if Spa was ever dropped off the calendar, goodness gracious me. We've seen Equals loses a part of his front wing there. I think it was the end plate on that Williams car. You said it was a long lap, especially if we get it wrong, Alex. And unfortunately, this was where Equals was very much holding up the rest of the field then. How painful was it for Equals then? I bet this is probably one of the longest laps of his career, wasn't it?
I think, yeah, you've got to soldier on there with that damage, trying to get to a optimum lap, I suppose, to pit to repair it and then go to the end of the race on a new set of hard compound tyres or something. But yeah, it's any stage. We've seen it in quite a few of the divisions this season, where you get damage and you carry on, or you get a safety car and you don't pit, that sort of thing, and it really costs you later on in the race compared to your rivals then, who are then swarming all over the back of you then on that next phase. But yeah, Equaz there unfortunately had to get himself back in the box, and of course around Spa it's not an easy one to negotiate with a wing. So yeah, it's just making sure you get back to the pit lane safely.
Oh my word! And well, the safety is not on the mind of Boxtel. Boxtel on the outside doing his very best. Max impression for Verstappen there. Max Verstappen impression there. Going around the outside of Blanchemont, and then we've seen. I think that's Boxtel again fighting with your teammate Tango. There is it does take two to tango, but maybe not the top of Lake Com there. Fantastic driving from Boxtel. It was getting a bit bumpy here as well, but at this moment in time, Boxtel was leading the World Championship, Alex, but I gotta say, he wasn't making no bones about it. Was not shy, was he, to get his elbows out? Boxtel, wasn't it? But we've seen he made a mistake in the bus stop chicane as Mr. Raging Bull, unfortunately, having an issue there and out of the race. And this caused a safety car. And everywhere we get flowed into the pits. But Alex, Boxtel had a lot to lose at this stage of the World Championship. What you know now, do you think that races like this, Boxtel thinks, oh, maybe I should have done this, maybe I should have done that? Well, before we talk about Boxtel, this is the problem of having two competitive drivers in the same team. The Ferrari team, we had Troy. Oh dear, he's getting very action-packed at the top of Lake Com there, isn't it? Goodness gracious me. But we had two very competitive drivers, two world champions in the Ferrari, Alex, there, and Troy and Percy. But unfortunately, Troy got really held up there coming in the pit lane. How frustrating must that be as a driver?
Yeah, I think, well, especially like you said, when you've got two top drivers in the same team, then if there is something like a safety car there, or if there's even if they're just competing in race pace, then and they accidentally pit at the same time, then it's going to be very costly indeed. Then getting held in the pit lane behind your teammate, whichever way round your order is. But yeah, we've seen, I think, a couple of times this season the likes of Troy, of course, Geordie and Immortal in the Alpines as well. Then and quite a couple of others as well. To be fair, throughout the season, there's been quite a few double stacks because of the just the pace that they've got competing with each other and the rest of the field. So yeah, it must be frustrating for sure. Not that I would know, to be honest, because if whoever my teammate was, I was always probably at least 20 seconds back or so when I needed to make my pit stop anyway, so it didn't make any effect on me. But yeah, like I said, it's challenging. You have to plan. Also, it comes down to the planning of when you're going to pit and your race strategy as a whole itself. Then before you even start the race. So again, sometimes there's blimey, he's gone very wide there. Yeah, sometimes you can't help it. Obviously, with that safety car, for example. But usually, the likes of Troy and likes of Percy and Troy, anyway, they know what their race is going to be, what they're going to be doing in their race before the race even starts. So yeah, it's not too much of a challenge for them as we got Geordie Boxtel flying down the inside of two of them.
My goodness me! I was going to talk about Boxtel, about how much he was thinking about the championship, but we have seen 4 or 5 barnstorming manoeuvres out from Boxtel. He was an absolute a beast in this race, wasn't he? We've seen him go off in at the bus stop chicane, but that didn't deter him at all. My goodness gracious me! This race alone, it just felt like he had very much the wind under his wings, and of course, talking as Alex mentioned, there, of course, Alpine had a very strong lineup with Immortal, the 100% world champion, along with Boxtel, who's been runner-up in Season 8, and of course Season 9 he was 3rd position in the championship. Could he go one better in this season? Well, you'll have to find out later on. But also, you mentioned about the other teams as well. There's a lot of queuing in this season. Haas and Owen, when they had German, the Season 6 world champion, and Indigo, who, and talking of Indigo, goodness gracious me, he lost control at the top of Lake Om there, and got over the sleeping policeman. Are we allowed to call that sleeping policeman now? I'm not sure. But whatever the case may be, Indigo unfortunately going off there. And Indigo had a bit of a difficult start to his campaign there. I'm not sure if it was the Haas car or if it was Indigo and German, but Haas had a very up and down season. We've heard about this infamous Haas car over the years. And of course, Farf was was a very much a loudmouth when it comes to the Haas car as well. Alex, we've always mentioned about the cars being equal and all that, but are they equal?
Yes.
Okay.
No, well, I suppose you could see, I'm just looking at this race itself as well, you can see the sort of change in fortune then for both the Haas drivers as the season sort of progresses. Unfortunately for German, he started off really well then, and it was looking very promising, and now unfortunately it didn't go that way as the season progressed. And I think we saw later on as well, we saw Indigo getting some good results as well in the other Haas car. So there's Geordie challenging then for the podium place, and it looks like. Yeah, so like I said, it's it wasn't a long season. Well, definitely not anywhere near the longest season that ALR's ever had. But as Sam Swift, of course, the new entry then for McLaren, then taking the race win here. But yeah, like I said, it was. Yeah, you could see the change in fortune even over a shorter season as well than 17 rounds. So yeah, interesting to see, even though it was, like I said, the shorter season ever on ALR.
It certainly was. And maybe 17 rounds is possibly the perfect season as well. Maybe limited media might need to take heed then potentially. Oh gosh, goodness gracious me. I haven't been on YouTube, I swear. So I'm getting a bit feisty there with the limited media side of things. But yeah, Sam Swift Ninja making his, I think that was his debut as well. He went on to win 5 races in a row, Sam Swift, and absolutely redonkulous. I think he equaled the record of 5 wins in a row, which is currently held by Eat the Cookie, and I'm sure Emerson's got it as well. In the championship, Boxtel leading, and he's got quite a commanding lead over Lucas Purse in 2nd position, and German, as you mentioned, Alex, in a superb 3rd. This was Sam Swift's 2nd Grand Prix win in a row. Keza in a superb 5th position now with Immortal in a solid 6th. Toy Coin 7th. Troy right down 8th position. And one of my biggest shocks for me was Troy, how far behind Troy was, and Indigo, another shock for me to be down in 10th position at this moment in time. And very much It's very much so. Unlucky drivers for the second half of the table, then the likes of Marquis, Mr. Rage, and Brabant. Then as we roll on to the Constructors' Championship, an early stage lead for the Alpine team as well, and 41 points in front of Ferrari. Which I must say, then I thought Ferrari was going to be a formidable team, but Alpine having such a superb lineup as well. Haas in at third position. I must say, this is probably the strongest team lineup I think in ALR history, just for team for team. Look all those drivers in each team as well. You've got so much strength from that Alpine, so much strength from that Ferrari, Haas, McLaren, Alfa Romeo, Williams, Red Bull, Aston Martin, Mercedes, and AlphaTauri as well. Albeit it's been a tough start for AlphaTauri, for Alex and Tango then. But now we're going to best performance then, and in third position is Kaz in the Alfa Romeo. Of course, Kaz hadn't made his full debut for the Alfa Romeo at this stage of the season, but he will do later on then. And here's one of this is where Kaz had a superb performance in the Italian Grand Prix. Of course, the Temple of Speed, and what a place to have a performance of your lifetime then in the of course in Alfa Romeo's backyard. Sam Swift Ninja, of course, as we just said, made his debut in the season review last time up. Then, of course, he was runner-up in the best performance, but he is certainly not runner-up in this championship. But in Bahrain, after I'm sure he had a drive-through, very similar to it's very similar to a gentleman we're going to talk about in the 100% later on. Then, but Sam Swift battling back after having a bit of a difficult race in Bahrain, but what a superb fight back it was. And then Keza, of course, in the second Alfa Romeo. Goodness gracious me, Alfa Romeo's had a monopoly on this award, haven't they? In the Australian Grand Prix, Keza out to the final turn. Then, of course, Toy Coyne and Keza have been one of the outstanding performers of the season for us, but Keza took his first Grand Prix win down under in Australia. Superb performance indeed. That as we go to Abu Dhabi, then nope, this is not the final round of the race, the season. This is round 9, I believe, or something like that. Then, Alex, the best performers, then of course, could those three candidates, then all of them deserve to win that one, but I think Keza was the right winner there.
Yeah, I think Cass came from, I think it was P18 or P16 all the way up to P4 in the end in that Italian Grand Prix, which is pretty good stuff indeed, when it's pretty much just a power-hungry, just put foot to the floor circuit. And then you had, of course, Sam Swift, and I think that was, like you said, P13 was where he started, and did drop to the back of the field at one point in the opening stages, and then came back and won the Grand Prix. And of course, Keza with his first ALR win, which was, of course, a great performance on its own. But of course, battling through in Australia then to claim the top spot then is for his first win as well, which was, of course, granted him the win for the best performance. I suppose you gave the top award for best performance, which is good to see. And like I said, all three fantastic races. Like I said, there was plenty of good performances throughout the season as well, not just those three. But like I said, all the votes have gone that way. So yeah, it was great to see those three races of those three drivers then competing then for the best performance as well.
Really was indeed, and all three of them were superb stuff indeed. There's multiple using all the track and then some here in Abu Dhabi. We just seen about Keza getting a superb win in Australia for when he also won best performance of the season. It just shows how well Toy Coyne and Keza have done, because all the awards so far have gone to those two drivers. Superb stuff indeed. Stars of the future for ALR Gold then, and potentially future champions, Alex.
I couldn't rule it out, put it that way. I think, like I said, again, those two names definitely included when we were talking about those who we thought were going to be competing at the top of the division then at the beginning of this season and last season as well. Then those are definitely two names that were in the hat. So I don't see why not. To be honest, I think they can compete at the top and they can get the wins now, as we can see, as we have seen. So yeah, why not? Champions in the making.
So yeah, they've broken through the glass ceiling now, haven't they? So I think that's possibly one of the more difficult things. Is oh gosh, that's Kerman having a good old clout there at the back to the side of Sam Swift. Goodness gracious me, good job they make these cars very robust there, especially in Woking. Goodness gracious me, I think Kerman did a hop, skip, and a jump. Then this is at lap 8 then of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. We've had a lot of configuration changes. The circuits, oh my gosh, they're very friendly with each other here in this this race, haven't they, Alex? Goodness gracious me. But we've had a lot of configuration changes with Australia, with Abu Dhabi, just two to name off the tip of my tongue kind of thing, as Mark is having issues there, unfortunately, the Latifi corner there. But Alex, what do you make of these changes to the circuits then? I'm not a fan of Australia's changes, but I don't mind Abu Dhabi's changes.
I think all of them have improved the racing at each track, to be fair, even in Australia as well. So, no, I'm all for it. So long as it makes it better racing, then I don't see why not.
And there's me moaning about it. You see, I'm an old fart these days. Just ever since 35, Alex, all I've done is moan. Well, actually, 34 as well. Just ask Cirrus Mushroom and the Andretti saga that I've been talking about since January. Just watching. Pete's here.
Years old, don't worry.
So I'm sure it will be. I think that's got a long way to go after some of the stuff we've heard recently. Right then, anyway, enough about Andretti. Goodness gracious me, Cirrus Mushroom's going to turn this off in a bit, isn't he? Boxtel takes the lead then. Against Percy, and Pease, who's not part of the championship at the moment, then is really starting to get a become a major player in this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Pease had some amazing pace there, but lacked consistency this season in that Williams there. But 2 wins there for Pease, which is pretty impressive stuff indeed. But in the race like this, where you're fighting against your championship competitors of Percy and Boxster, and then Pease gets involved, I'm sure that yourself, Alex, you'll be quite miffed about that, wouldn't you?
Well, it's like I was saying earlier in the beginning of the season on the first round that, of course, there's one driver then in this stage of the season, I suppose you could say, that's not really fighting for titles. They're fighting for their own pride, their own wins as well, which Pease is very capable of doing. We've seen that in previous ALR seasons as well as this one. So yeah, like I said, he's not. Well, I suppose he's got more of a risk to take. I suppose you could say it was more potential for him to take risk. I suppose you could say, rather than those that are trying to compete for the top honours. So yeah, there's it was refreshing to see, because of course Pease, we know, he can definitely drive fast. We've seen him in like I said, in other seasons as well, and again this season. I think it was Saudi Arabia, got his first win after he first became full time later on, or midway through this season as well. So yeah, he's as we go for perfect timing, good move there. But yeah, I said I think Pease probably had a bit more freedom to not worry too much about what was going on in the race as well. Just try and take it to the other guys who were rivaling him for the race wins.
And that brings me on, because Pease is kind of one of like the old guards of ALR, isn't he? And that brings me on to we had a couple of drivers that reach 100 plus Grand Prix. I think you're on 118 now, Alex. Goodness gracious me! But then we had a German. No, it's a long old slog, isn't it? We got another 5 years to go as well. But we've had the likes of Troye, German, and apologies, I'm sure we had another driver as well who reached the 100 mark. 100 plus mark in ALR Gold, which is superb stuff indeed. A lot of drivers, as I do the stats every week because I'm a big old nerd, there's so many like drivers now that is on 50 plus races, and which I know is because we have a lot of races in the season these days. Oh dear, as Boxstyle and Pease are getting very cozy with each other down the chicane now. But having drivers being here for such a long period of time, Alex, then you have like Sam Swift, who is a rookie in ALR, but I don't think he's a rookie in actual Grand Prix racing. But how nice is it though to see some drivers hanging around for such a long period of time then? Or are you fed up with a few, Alex?
No, I'm not fed up with anybody. I think, like I said, well, for the returning faces, it's always nice to see. It's nice to have new faces as well, of course. But like I said, hopefully turning them into familiar faces too. But no, like fair play to all the drivers, the likes of Percy, likes of Troye. Well, I've named 2, but I think you can name most of them here as well. German and Keza as well now, immortal for sure. So and Geordie, like I said, there's of course Pease we've mentioned already, but there's like, I'm going to miss people out, I'm afraid, because there's too many people. But no, it's I think it's just a shout out to those drivers and to for keeping the league going. To be fair, because like I said, it's down to the drivers then to race each week and week in, week out, and yeah, credit to those names to put in more than 50 performances, put in even more than that as well in most cases throughout all divisions as well. So it's fantastic to see, and like I said, the league is built from there really, and so yeah, it's all down to the drivers really, in my opinion. Like I said, a lot of people especially at the end of the season, were saying thanks to me, thanks to the admins, that sort of thing. But I said basically it's an Uno reverse card on that one. It's thanks to the drivers then that we can do this. So yeah, it's all credit to the drivers in my opinion.
You tell when it gets real when Alex pulls out the Uno card. Goodness gracious me. Percy taking I think that was his second Grand Prix win of the season, if I'm not very much mistaken, which I probably am. What an incredible race that was, though. It was down to lack of pounds, didn't it? And they all condensed up there. Toy Coin once again up there as well. Cam getting a podium, then Boxstyle just finished fourth today. But I did feel like that this was starting to become a changing of the tide in the World Championship, Alex, and we'll see now. Boxstyle led, I think, 75% of the championship. He was one driver out of the top three that we mentioned about Troy, Percy, and Boxstyle himself. It was very much championship material, as those three have been basically hogging the spotlight for the past 3 seasons in gold. And Boxstyle, I thought his time had come this season because he was superb. But look at Sam Swift Ninja. It's 5 wins in a row, just putting in those incredible performances. And remember, Percy, at this stage of the season, there, goodness gracious me, that's quite a big gap between himself and Boxstyle in the top 3. And look how close Keza and Toy Coin was as well. It was incredible. I would say at this stage, Alex, maybe I'm a bit optimistic, but there's 5 people in that championship fight. That Alpino is doing a great job at this stage as well. Both Boxstyle and Immortal was just getting off good results. They're doing a superb job. I was meant to say ticking off. Goodness gracious me, I'm going to be in major trouble now. Ferrari in second position then, with McLaren in third then. But it was for certainly Alpine's Constructors' Championship at this stage then, as we was about 55% through the season, and of course that was round 10 of the championship as well. But I must say then the top 3 in the championship was certainly going to be major factors later on in this one as well. And of course, as we now roll on into the best overtake as well. I've even got it written down, Alex, and I still don't know what I'm talking about. Best overtake, and Indigo is up first then in the Haas car. And of course, Indigo, as we mentioned, then towards the end of the season really start to get the performance that we was expecting. But we're here in Zandvoort, and I've got to say it's a very narrow track at the best of times. But the drivers do seem to like to get very close and cozy with each other. But what a maneuver on the outside of turn 3. I'll start off at Tarzan. Boxstyle in the Alpine machine now. Of course, runner up for the best overtake as well for Boxstyle then. And this was around Spa, of course. And we've already seen a clip of this, and look at this, and my goodness gracious me. To be honest, the race in Spa for Boxstyle, we could pick 4 or 5 to be fair, couldn't we? Because Boxstyle was an absolute unit in that race. And Mr. Raging Bull then is our third awards winner. Then of course we've had Keza with 2, and now we have also had Mr. Rage in the British Grand Prix as well. Then of course the first round of the season now coming into the new complex, which is not so new anymore, is it there? And look at that then, getting very friendly with himself and Toy Coin then. Toy Coin's also been in the awards as well himself, haven't they? Goodness gracious me. By the way, Toy Coin actually won 2, Keza won 1. I corrected myself. We're here in Qatar now, Alex, I like this circuit to drive on. I'm not sure if it's very good to race on, but I'm going to be putting my place with this is one of the best races on the gold calendar. Of course, one of the newer events as well in Qatar. Only one DRS zone around this circuit. Then it's more of a MotoGP track rather than a Formula One circuit. But I think that all the races actually in gold, silver, and bronze was quite tickety boo, Alex.
Yeah, I think it's turned into a pretty good F1 track, to be honest, in real life racing and particularly in league racing as well. Then, so yeah, I like Qatar. I think it was good on this game as well. Then I think it definitely lent itself to sort of throwing the car into the corners. Then, as we've seen somebody throwing themselves off the circuit there, But yeah, I think it was definitely, as I think Mr. Raging Bull couldn't take the start. That's why his car's been teleported off the circuit there as well, unfortunately for him. But yeah, like I said, yeah, in this circuit, this sector 3 in specific terms, flying through there side by side, which I wouldn't recommend, but flying through there, you can really just throw the car in and it sticks to the track, and you just it feels really good then to race as well. So yeah, I think it was really good for, like you said, in the ALR divisions as well, and I think it's been good for F123 league racing as well overall.
Big thumbs up from me. Not big thumbs up from Nathan, and who was just recovering after having issues. Of course, your newer teammate in that, AlphaTauri on a bit of a difficult season. I'm not sure what France tossed had been saying to you drivers, Alex, I'm wondering if you can give us the inside scoop, but it seems like there's a bit of a revolving door in AlphaTauri, but you and Nathan have really stabilised the ship towards the end of the season. As we're just watching Toy Coin, he was having a battling Grand Prix coming back through the field after his turn one misdemeanor. So at the so this is where Indigo really starts. Oh my gosh, he starts to come to his own now. It's like I've not watched this before. Indigo's really coming to his own now, hasn't he? And doing a superb job for the Haas team. Of course, at this race circuit, then, was this a straightforward one-stopper for you, Alex, then? Or was you thinking that potential safety car could throw a curveball? What was you thinking down in 16th position at the time?
Well, I was thinking it was going to be a one-stopper. Oh dear. That's not how to overtake, but unfortunately for Brad Pitt. But yeah, you definitely think it was a one-stopper, this one, yeah. But obviously, in terms of tyre wear, I think it's very high around this circuit, just due to the nature of the track, the high-speed corners, and yeah, it just lent itself to the one-stopper, the hards to mediums, that sort of thing. But yeah, like I said, if anything untoward popped up, then the opportunity to go on to or to do a double medium stint or something like that would be presenting itself for sure. But no, I think, like you said, back to the beginning when you said that this race was absolutely epic, then I think it definitely was. Then, especially towards the latter stages, then for one team, let's say, but no spoilers. But no, it was absolutely brilliant, this race. Obviously for the top of the order, then the battling that went on. But of course, even down the field, then it was absolutely fantastic stuff to see as well. So no, I think Qatar's definitely got a good vibe to it, especially for league racing, like I keep saying. But no, again, put credit to these drivers as well. They put on an absolutely fantastic show. Unfortunately, there was me, but just back on the AlphaTauri. Then, thanks to Nathan, very, very deeply from my heart for not giving us the wooden spoon in the constructors. Thanks to his good results in the end of the season as well. I didn't do much, but oh dear, as that's pushed a pass literally from Gamer. So yeah, so no, thanks to Nathan for bailing me out then in the constructors as well.
I love that. That's I think that's yours. I'm not sure whether that's the best quote of the season or if it's the quote where Favre was on the podium in Spain, I believe it was. That was quite funny as well. As a lot of drivers really getting up close and personal with their diffusers in this race. Very much, as I've been saying, very cozy. At this stage of the season, I mentioned it in the last race there, but it was getting mission critical now, if I remember rightly, because Purse is on an incredible, well, he's on an incredible run now, but Purse is on an incredible run of form, as was Sam Swift Ninja. Boxtel seemed to have lost his form at the worst time. As a driver, Alex, what can you do to combat that? Because when you lose momentum, it's very difficult to gain it back as a driver, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think Geordie found that as well. Then, unfortunately for him, because like I said, he's absolutely fantastic driver. We've seen him in plenty of seasons in ALR, then doing a fantastic job. And of course, this season as well was no different to that. He had a difficult final few races, like you said, but again, still committed, still kept on putting in the results as best as he could as well, which is what you need to be if you want to be a champion, of course. And I don't think it's too far away then for Geordie becoming an ALR Gold champion. It's been close on many occasions already, hasn't it? So I think it's a question of when, not if.
It is, and I felt for Boxtel because I think that towards the end of the season he really did drop off a bit, didn't he? He was I remember him questioning in the comments as well at one of the qualifying stage. I can't remember if it was Brazil, but just questioning about the car, that the pace had gone in the Alpine. Very unusual indeed. I'm not sure if you may say the cars are equal there, but sometimes I do. I think that it might sometimes be a bit of superstition as well, because both Alpines was just absolutely dropping down the field in terms of pace. You see that Immortal in this race as well, having a difficult race down in 16th position there. Of course, the 100% world champion, you expect Immortal to be in the figure things as well. Sam Swift, the goal on the outside of Indigo, that's a brave manoeuvre, isn't it? And you can only do that with certain drivers there. Superb driving indeed there from both of those two. Fantastic. At the moment, there's a Ferrari 1-2. We don't get many 1-2s in Grand Prix racing normally online. Then there's again, you can see what got Boxtel and Sam Swift there. And you can see that Boxtel was not going to give it without a fight, was he? Sam Swift in 4th position. This, we've mentioned it twice, both me and Alex, and this is, I think, my favourite race of the season, to be fair. Very good from the admin there to pick out the top 5 and have this one in there. Superb stuff indeed. Toy Coin now getting himself back up to 5th position as well. This is probably one of the performances of the season as well for me. I think it's probably the 4th best performance. I just missed out on the top 3 from Toy Coin. Absolutely supreme stuff indeed. That doing so many laps there on those hard compound tyres. Then I think you brought in a gentleman called Legends, didn't you, Alex? Who joined the Mercedes when Mercedes unfortunately did finish rock bottom in the Constructors' Championship, but Legends for me, I felt him evolving every race of his gold campaign, and towards the end of the season he was absolutely sublime. I think he finished in 16th or 15th, which was supreme stuff indeed. That a word on Legends if you can.
Yeah, a great driver for sure, a very consistent driver, and I think whereas like I said, I think he's, like you said, maybe had some difficulties in the opening stages of the season. Well, not opening stages, sorry, the middle of the season when he did jump into that Mercedes car. He's completely turned that around then at the end of the season, as we can see both Ferraris then crossing the line to come 1-2 here in Qatar. I think was that the only 1-2 in gold? You have to correct me, but
Yes.
This season that is. Yes, there we go. I did know something, right? Legend then what has been legendary this season, you could say. No pun intended. But he's been absolutely epic in this season, especially like you said towards the end, in the last few races, then getting some really strong points then for the team, and of course promoting himself into the fight then for further positions as well.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I think Legends was superb stuff indeed. There, so big thumbs up from me. And but going back to the championship fight, 31 hundredths of a second. Do you think that this race may have cost Percy the championship, Alex? Maybe do you reckon Troy should have let him through?
I don't think Percy was concerned about that. I don't think it was. I don't think at the time it might have been very considerable actually, but I can't remember that far back. We'll have to look at the standings in just a few seconds. But I think Percy basically he said, I believe he said as well. I heard that he was just happy to get a 1-2 for the team in that race specifically there. So yeah, I think he was just. I think it was very good work from both of the Ferraris then to make sure they secured that 1-2 in that race. And like I said, the only 1-2 of the season, which is just a credit to them as well. But on Percy's note, I think like I said, he was happy just to help the team work together as a team and then and get the result for the constructors.
And yeah, and it's very hard to ask the super Swede Troy to jump out the way of anyone, especially as he had not had a win up until that point. And Troy has had so much success in ALR, of course, the gold and silver champion. It's almost impossible to ask Troy to get out of the way there. And you're right, but Percy, I mentioned after the race as well, there's me trying to stir things, Alex. It's shocking, isn't it? But I remember asking after the race that do you think that Troy should have let you by? And Percy was not really having any of it there, because it just shows how great races they are indeed then. But of course, me being a cynic there, I'm always trying to stir the pot. Ferrari then, look at that then. We can see how the big downfall of Alpine was then. They had a quite commanding lead then, and now all of a sudden they're down to second then. And Ferrari have taken lead, that incredible 1-2. As Alex said, the only 1-2 of the season. The only reason why I know that is because I got it right in front of me. But brilliant 17 from Ferrari then. And of course, now we're going to go on to driver of the season then, Alex. This is probably the most important award then, potentially, of the night, and it is Boxtel who was third. And of course, I'm not going to make no bones about it. I was disappointed of how the season unfolded for Boxtel. The opening 2 races, he was supreme. The opening several races, I think he was on the podium or finished 4th at the lowest. I think that was the first 6 or 7 races. He was absolutely sublime, especially this race in Spa, who will live long in the memory for me. Percy, what a performance in the second half of the season for Percy. I'm sure he was the highest point scorer in the last 4 or 5 races or so. But Percy in Abu Dhabi there won the Grand Prix. Now I think that is really where we start to think maybe this championship is not over yet for Percy. Of course, already a world champion. Could he have become the third double world champion in ALR history then? Here he is. Sam Swift Ninja with 5 wins on the bounce, as I mentioned. That is matched Emerson and Eat the Cookie. And Sam Swift Ninja winning in Brazil. No, not winning in Brazil. Coming second in Brazil. Of course, Nathan getting his first Grand Prix win as well, which Alex is very happy about. But Sam Swift getting second in Brazil. And as I said, 5 wins on the bounce for Sam Swift. And 6 wins and 9 podiums in his 14 starts. And so we finish in the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, Alex. As I've completely butchered
goodness.
it. I know. I've even practiced it like before the day, like on the day coming back, as I was running a bit late. Won't DRS around this circuit then, but yes, finished off a season in Europe, which is very unusual for Formula One these days. Of course, last time that happened was Jerez, 1997, and we even had a sprinkle of rain, Alex. There, but of course, the championship had been decided in terms of the drivers' standards, but the constructors were still very much up to play for. But Sam Swift Ninja winning in Brazil in a very oh gosh, oh goodness gracious me, that was a very good rabbit out of the race there. Kind of finished off what is a horror show of the season in a very wet Imola race then. But Alex then Sam Swift in Percy then the showdown in Brazil then unfortunately it did come a bit off the rails for Percy where he had a bit of a shunt there down the back straight of Brazil, and Sam Swift did clinch the World Championship by finishing second there. But overall, Sam Swift on his debut, only in 14 race starts there, 6 Grand Prix wins, 9 podiums there. He's been sublime. No DNFs either.
No, well, like I said, I think he definitely deserved the title for sure. Like I said, Sam Swift, since he came in, he's been in blistering form. Then, like those 5 wins, I think really, I think that might have been again quite demoralising for the rest of the field. And trying to think, where am I going to get these wins, or how can I compete? Of course, after that, I think it was that Bahrain race, wasn't it? It was that's when it sort of evened out a bit more. But it was still absolutely. Oh dear, it's not so good for Mr. Rage, sorry. Yeah, so like I said, it did even out a bit more in the midway point of the season, but still, Sam Swift was consistently competing then for race wins and for podiums, of course, throughout the season as well, which is credit to him as well. He showed the pace, he was absolutely rapid, and like I said, I think a couple of the other drivers did step up their game as well, which was good to see because they really did try and take the fight to Sam Swift then throughout the rest of the season, and of course turned it around and getting some wins for themselves as well, which was really good to see. But to the McLaren driver of Sam Swift, absolutely fantastic season from him as well. Of course, just like I say, clean, committed, and well deserved for the championship for season 10.
This is a very basic statement for me, but this is as best you're going to get. If you get the most points, you win the title. You deserve the title, isn't it? Basically, but absolutely. And you mentioned about the point where Bahrain and drivers thinking, I've got to step this up a bit, and I do think that that's exactly what happened because I do think that Percy had a really tough start of the season, if I remember rightly. He did start off very well with a podium, but it was a bit hit and miss for the Percy and for Troy as well, but I think Percy stepped it up and kind of found another gear, didn't he, really, against Sam Swift, which got the title going all the way to round 16. Unfortunately, we still haven't had that final showdown championship, which we've been waiting for since season 2 of ALR Gold. Hopefully we'll get there eventually. But Sam Swift, absolutely sublime. I agree with you wholeheartedly, Alex. Absolutely supreme stuff indeed there. And as we wind down to the final stages of this incredible season 10 Gold, what do you think about the season as a whole, Alex? You've been admin, you've been oh my goodness gracious me, I think that sums up in a nutshell, really, doesn't it? Incredible fight between Indigo, Percy, and Toy Coin. What would you say overall then about the season, and how would you view it?
I'd say action-packed, epic, and another word. And no, just really good, to be fair. I think that like all the drivers have been fantastic. They've really put on a great show every race as well then, and oh dear, apart from me. So there we go. But no, I think like I said, it's been season 10 has really been absolutely brilliant, and I think that's down to down to the drivers just doing the best every week, and really just putting on a show, like I said. And no, like I said before, oh dear, goodness me, where did that McLaren come from? Like I said before, at the beginning, well, midpoint of the review, it's all down to the drivers themselves, to be honest. Like I said, putting on the performances and being committed as well, that sort of thing. So, no, absolutely all credit to all 19 drivers who finished the season, apart from me, because yeah, like I said, I was just there to make up the numbers. But no, it was like I said, the last few races were absolutely brilliant. Apart from a couple of incidents that we saw in the opening lap here today, but yeah, I think I was really impressed, and I said all the drivers deserve the credit for that as well.
And one word, and just a final thought as well, Alex. I know that was another final thought, but let's have another one. Going into season 11 of ALR, Sam Swiftman, world champion, Percy, world champion, Troy, world champion, Boxtal potentially could have been world champion this season, been third, and he's been second and third now in his ALR career. Now that's four drivers off the top of my head. Gurman, what has he got? What has he got under his left toe? There's so many drivers that potentially could be a champion next season. What about Toy Coin? What about Keza? I'm basically naming the whole grid now, Alex. But can you put a early prediction on Formula One 2024 and season 11 of ALR?
I will go with Troy.
My goodness me! By the way, we've recorded that, so that because I love it when Alex is wrong. I think it's hilarious. So he's gone with Troy then. So yes, and can Troy become a double world champion as well? I think Troy is on the verge of breaking a lot of Emerson's records as well for next season. He was meant to do it this season, but he had a lot of difficult races, didn't he? Troy did. But yes, Alex has gone for the Super Swede Troy, and to be fair, that is a safe bet indeed. Congratulations to Sam Swift and Ninja. He has been superb stuff indeed. Thank you very much to Alex as well, who's delivered some very insightful words, hasn't he? Indeed, that. And of course, I'm actually doing a very good job tonight then, because I have actually got a little agenda, which means that I can now have a quick look to see what else I need to round off before we finish this incredible season 10 season review. And there it was in Imola. Then, of course, the final race of the season. F1 season 11 will be on F1 2024. I cannot wait. We've got new teams, technically, with the Sauber name being brought back into Formula One. I cannot wait to say the Sauber name. I love it. And even the Dayglow Green. That's going to look very mighty on the circuit, isn't it? We have got no longer Alpha Tower, but instead we have got RB V Carb. I'm not even going to name the whole official name of that. That's not even going to happen. Of course, and as Alex mentioned there, the amount of drivers that can win that next season 11, very much anything could happen, and it usually does in Formula One. They're fantastic indeed. Sam Swift Ninja is the 8th world champion in 10 seasons of ALR. Only 2 double world champions in ALR Gold history. It's incredible, isn't it, how competitive the season's been over the past number of seasons or so. Of course, as we enter our 11th season, goodness gracious me, Sam Swift win the championship. The gap was a lot bigger in the end after Percy's misdemeanor in Brazil, and of course Boxtel finishing third, just in front of Toy Coin now, who was sublime. Keza in 5th position, who was also sublime, inside the top 5 in the championship. I think it's going to be a lot closer for next season. Troy, horror show, but that is Alex's pick then for the World Championship next season. Indigo 7th, with Immortal 8th. Kaz doing a good job in 9th position there. I've forgotten who was 10th. In the Constructors' Championship, Ferrari clinched it on the final race there of the season 10 now, and Ferrari, of course, was the favourites, and that's the first Constructors' Championship in their history. Alpine second, McLaren finished third, then Red Bull in a superb fourth, with Alfa Romeo fifth. Williams, the last season's Constructors' Championship, horror show in 6th position there, 3 points in front of the Haas team then, with Aston Martin, followed by Alfa Tauri, and Mercedes unfortunately getting the wooden spoon there in 10th position there, but they'll bounce back next season, I am sure of it. Superb stuff indeed then. We've got one more award tonight as well, and we've also got the Wheel of Fortune as well. The admin's driver of the season then goes to Mr. Raging Bull, and absolutely no queries that. Hats off to Mr. Raging Bull, who was a part of the season for more often than not. They only missed one race this season, and very much a difficult season for the Aston Martin team, but drove superbly well when sometimes it was not going his way. Hats off to Mr. Raging Bull, admin's driver of the season. Brilliant stuff indeed there. I bow down to him. And of course, the final one is, of course, who is going to get that £20 gift voucher then for 100% attendance? And it is Percy, the former champion. Congratulations to Lucas Percy. And while he did win 7 in the end, Percy did, apart from the Constructors' Championship. See you next season. Goodbye.